Assalamualaikum and good evening to people who hearing this presentation. Today we will present about our topic about protection against thermal effect. So with me, my name is Muhammad Hakim, and with me we have Anis Shafika, Ami Akif, and Muhammad Naim. We will present about our topic. As for introduction, electrical industry is we known as having a very dangerous scope of work because it can cause a various type of hazard. So for our topic, we will discuss about thermal effect. So what cause the thermal effect to happen? So when a current flow, the electron in the conductor will collide with each other and will cause kinetic energy. From the kinetic energy, it will cause heat energy will be produced. So from the heat energy, the thermal effect will happen. So the thermal effect have factor that cause temperature rise, which first of all is the resistance, the time frame for current flow, and the amount of current flow. So for our learning today, we will discuss about several protection and precaution steps we may do in electrical installation to reduce injuries or fatalities in electrical industry.
Okay, first of all, we're going to talk about protection against fire caused by electrical equipment. This is the nature of electrical equipment that generate heat that can cause a fire breakout. And this matter needs to be taken seriously. As an example, if a fire breakout in substation, a total breakdown will happen and can affect a lot of customers. Also, the huge losses due to the damage of the equipment. However, we can solve this problem by using complying the installation method using IEE wiring regulations. Yeah, protection against thermal effect is a must because there will be always a risk of fire. Some of the electrical equipment will generate heat on its surface when operating. This problem can be solved by using specific types of installation methods, which is mounted on support and mounted on support and screening using a low thermal conductance, which can withstand the heat generated by the electrical equipment, and thus minimize the risk of fire. Next slide. When dealing with electrical system, there will be a risk of getting fault in the system. In order to isolate the fault in the system must be disconnected from the fault section. This process may lead to arcing or sparking, where this arcing and sparking can lead to fire breakouts. When the contact of the circuit breaker is disconnected from the live part of the system, there will be arcing since the jumping of electrons occur. This arc is needed to be extinguished immediately in order to prevent fire. Based on the IEE wiring regulation, whenever arc or spark at high temperature may be emitted in the fixed equipment in normal service, one of the requirements is the equipment should be totally enclosed in arc resistant material, which is as example vacuum circuit breaker. There is many types of circuit breaker such as sulfur, sulfuride, and oil vacuum. Today we're going to talk about vacuum circuit breaker. In vacuum circuit breaker, there is a fixed and moving contact, which are housed permanently inside a steel vacuum ceramic bottle. Whenever the contacts are separated, the arc is immediately quenched since the contact in the vacuum ceramic bottle. One of the properties that are required before ignition or combustion take place is air which contains oxygen. Without the presence of oxygen in the vacuum ceramic bottle, there will be no process of ignition or combustion at the contact. Therefore, when arc do not exist, the chance of fire breakouts to happen is very minimal. Next slide. Okay. Lastly, the fire retardant paint. Fire retardant paint is a coating that is used to coat the cables inside a building. This type of protection is used when the fire breakouts already happen. This method can prevent fire from spreading and damaging other appliances that may lead to a serious problem. However, FRP is a substance that is used to slow or stop the spread of fire by reducing its intensity and it cannot prevent fire breakouts from happening. And the concept is by using the chemical reaction that reduce flammability of fuels or delay their combustion. Time is essential when a fire is happening. FRP helps in slowing or stopping the spread of fire, which is important to firemen to put out the fire before damaging other equipment. Alright, slide.
Next, precaution where particular risk of fire exist. There are 4 main precautions that needs to be aware of. First, condition of evacuation in an emergency, location with risk of fire due to nature, process or store material, combustible constructional material, and fire propagating structure. Next. Condition of evacuation in an emergency. Emergency evacuation is the urgent immediate escape from the hazard area. There are 4 types of condition for evacuation in an emergency, which are normal, difficult, crowded, and also difficult and crowded. From this type of places, the authorities of each location must be responsible for designing evacuation plans clearly on fire emergency. It will save a lot of humans' life. Next, the wire system shall not encroach on escape routes unless the wire system provide with shade to prevent from any kind of accident. The wiring system needs to be placed at the higher place to prevent from people reach it. And also switchgear and controller shall be accessible only to authorities person. If switchgear and controller is installed in an escape route, it needs to be enclosed in a cabinet or an enclosure constructed of non-combustible or not readily combustible material. Next slide.
Next, location with risk of fire due to the nature of process of stored materials. This slide is about storage of materials. Storage of materials, one of is heater or resistor must not exceed 90 degrees Celsius, which is in under normal condition, and 115 degrees Celsius for fault condition. The switchgear must be installed outside the location unless it is suitable for the location. This is for the explosive manufacture and storage, and this is switchgear must put outside the location. Circuit supplying equipment shall be protected against overload and against fault by a protective, which is on the supply side of the location or outside the supply side of the location. Heat storage need a type that prevent ignition of combustible dust or fiber. Heat storage, storage must be in the beautiful way, because once ignition occurs, so in the combustible area, and by dust also can ignite combustion. Next slide. Next is combustible construction material. The construction material, which is in the image below, is about steel, and the combustible material is wood. Electrical equipment cannot prevent ignition of walls, ceiling, or floors. This can be prevented by designing a proper design and choice of material. Electrical equipment installed in combustible wall shall comply with the relevant standard. This to prevent from enclosure temperature rise. Next, electrical equipment need to be enclosed with suitable thickness of non-flammable material to prevent heat dissipation. The material need to have a suitable thickness, which is to prevent heat dissipation. Next slide.
Last, fire propagating structure. The structure mostly occur in the residential or commercial. The propagation rates vary depending on the types of the material used in the building construction. Either radiant heat generation differs or the degree of flame. The building material can be broadly classified into a few categories based on the fire resistivity. First is concrete and fire resistive steel of high risk residential, steel for wall and steel rafter for roof for commercial building, and bridge mortar for wall and work frame for floor for residential building. The method of building construction is very important due to propagating the structure fire. This propagating of fire exists where a building has a dimension and shape which facilitates the spread of fire that has a high-rise building to force the ventilation system. Next.
So lastly, we will talk about protection against burn. There are two types of cause that cause the burns to happen. Firstly, when we touch a live open live circuit wire. So when the current flow through our hand, it will flow through tissue or bone, and the current flow will generate heat and cause tissue damage on our skin. Next is when we make a contact with a heated conductor, so the burn will happen. So based on our research and reference, there is a harmonized standard that specify the maximum temperature of accessible pipe at electrical apparatus. So this is the table for the max temperature. There are three types of accessible pipe. First of all is handheld pipe intended to be touched and but not handheld, and pipe which need to be touched for normal operation. Each one of them has their maximum temperature categorized by metallic and non-metallic.
Okay, I think that's all for our presentation. As a conclusion, any electrical wiring or installation must comply with standards, and one of them is protection against thermal effects that play vital roles in protecting the equipment damaged by fire and also fire breakouts. Thank you.
Thank you.